to Transformation Tuesday. I'm your host, Christy Uffelman of Edge Leadership, and today we are joined by my friend and Edge grad, Hollie Geitner. So say hello to Hollie there. Let me think a minute how I want to begin as Hollie says hello there. So we started these lives in 2021 when I released my book. And the reason, called the Peer Revolution, the reason why I started the lives was to showcase the stories of real people across the gender spectrum who had at one point transformed themselves, to share their story of transformation. And I say at one point because what you will hear tonight from Hollie is that she has had a transformation, and yet she is still in transformation. And so my hope is that when you join us here on our little corner of the internet, that it is an opportunity to hear from one of your peers about their transformation and the hope that it inspires you to be bigger and bolder in your own life. And so with that, I will say welcome. Please drop a note in the comments. Say hello to Hollie, and she's going to introduce herself to you right now.
Well, thank you. It's so good to be here. And as we said, third time's the charm. We got this down. Thank you everybody for being here. A little bit about me. And I know that you labeled me as a storyteller, so I will start with that.
You will for always be a storyteller to me, for always.
I believe in the power of stories to change the world. I'm Director of Communications for Duquesne Light Company, or Communications and Brand, and I use stories to build trust and connection with our stakeholders. And that would be our employees, our customers, our community members, everybody whose lives we touch. And my team, I call them our storytellers and content creators, because we're taking the wonderful work that we're doing and we are sharing that and inspiring and educating and informing all of those customers and stakeholders. But then, things aren't always perfect, right? So we use stories to also build those bridges of trust, especially when times are hard. Because, I work at a power company and sometimes the power goes out, as you know.
Not ever on one of my lives. Not ever with the Director of Communications.
I mean, it happens, right? So I really do believe in the power of stories in all aspects of our lives. So a little bit about me on the personal side. I am a mom of 5. So I was a stepmom before I was a mom. And I have 3 bonus children who are adults and love them so much. Love when they come visit. It's just a whole new experience having a relationship with adult children. And then I have 2 at home, Preston and Perrin, high school and middle school, big years, a lot going on, a lot of change. My husband works at the company with me, so some people say we're the power couple.
Oh, I love that.
And I mean, it's just, life. We've got pets and lots of pet hair and lost chargers everywhere. There's fights in the house over chargers every night. Like, that is a little bit of my life. And I don't think I'd have it any other way. I might have moments where I'm like, can we just buy 10 more chargers? But it's okay.
Please, can we hang chargers on the walls? Like Christmas decorations. You get a charger, you get a charger.
Everybody gets chargers. But yeah, that's a little bit of my personal life too.
Oh, what made me giggle there when you were talking about the chargers, I can't remember. I went into Eli's bedroom for something the other day. One of my girlfriends was looking for loose leaf paper for her high schooler. And I was like, I bet there's some in Eli's room. And I went in to look, and right beside his dresser, there was a basket. And, I knew there was paper in there. So that's where I went. 3 chargers.
Of course.
So I'm just telling you that your kids will leave home and you will find all your chargers probably in their bedroom.
When in doubt, when everyone's missing, I know. But yes, that's modern life today. These were not, struggles in our families when we were growing up.
No, because the phone was just on the wall.
It's a different struggle.
True statement. True statement. Well, my friend, the first question I have for you is tell us your story in your words. So take us back to the Holly pre-Edge. Um,
Mhm.
what was your personal and professional life like before your transformation? And then what shifted for you and how?
Yeah. Well, imagine, sitting at your desk in an office, and your boss comes in, sits down and says, "Well, how are things going?" Just kind of a conversation like you would have. And your boss says, "Well, what are you thinking about over the next couple of years? Where do you want to be?" Do you know what my return reply was? "I don't even know what we're having for dinner."
Yes.
Does that tell
That.
you anything about where I was? Like,
Yeah.
I was in that survival mode that I think so many of us are in at various points in our lives. It was school, work meetings, daycare, after school care, summer camp, doctor's appointments, homework, dinner. Like, kids have to eat every day. They didn't tell me this.
We're supposed to too, by the way.
And it's just you're just trying to get through the day, and everything is scheduled. And to have time to really think about, oh, what do I want to be doing in a few years? It's like that felt like a luxury that, like, it wasn't even on my mind. And here's the other thing.
Reality.
I couldn't describe myself if you had paid me money. I didn't know
Mhm.
who I was other than wordly, well, I'm a mom and I work and I live in this house and I drive this car, but I didn't know who I was. So when I went through Edge in 2019, that January, February, maybe it was end of January
Yeah.
at Bedford, and meeting women for the first time who I didn't know any of them. Um, I mean, it was a moment of like fear, right? Like, I don't know these women. Where do I sit? And like, when do I speak up? I'm a communicator. I don't want to say anything dumb, you know,
Yeah.
and I need to be like holding it back. I need to be reserved. And let me just tell you, that is so not me today. That's just not me.
I was gonna say that's not the Holly I know.
No, but that was me then. And here's another thing. One of my very dear friends, we did an exercise on Edge, and you would remember this. It was the circle.
Yeah.
And I won't give any more about that, but her first impression of me was that I was unapproachable.
Oh, honey.
But she didn't mean it in a bad way.
No, of course she
Or
didn't.
standoffish. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow, and that wasn't my outward, like I wasn't intentionally doing that. Um, but she is a dear friend of mine. We get together, like we just laugh. We care so much about each other. And those experiences really do tell you about my journey from like where I started to today, where like I'm having brave conversations. I am able to articulate like who I am and what I care about.
Yeah.
And I'm able to discern between like what matters to me and what really doesn't matter. So, but I'm still on that journey of like what does my success look like? How am I defining success?
Hmm.
And I think that's normal, like we're all going to go through that. And success looks different at different points in our lives too.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a little bit about my journey. I mean, there's so much in there. Like there's so many tears, there's so many headaches because I was so tired and exhausted from doing this emotional work.
Hmm.
And, just ugly like moments of like, whoa, my light went off in here. Sorry.
Go ahead and wave.
um,
There we go.
energy saving. We do that at the power company. Just
I think that is a good thing. I think that
um,
is a good thing.
but yeah, like those moments where you realize like I'm the one who's been in my way the whole time. Ouch.
Right?
Right? Like that is hard.
And I love that you say that because, you know, in my work as a coach, oftentimes, like when I'm first working with, a new client, whether it's one on one or in a group, like everybody wants the shiny transformation. Everybody
Right.
wants their life to be different. Most people can't articulate how they want it to be different. And that's where the work begins, is in that introspection and that self awareness and really taking stock of who am I right now? Not for the woman that I was 5 or 10 years ago, not for the
Right.
woman that I aspire to be, this aspirational leader, but truly right now, like what do I care about? What do I want? When we put aside all the shoulds and the coulds and the
Ah,
needs to and the have
right.
to, like truly, I mean, even asking ourselves the question, like, how often does your partner or someone say, "What do you want for dinner?" And you say, "I don't care," or "I don't know." And we just go along with, well, whatever you
Yeah.
want. But like, guess what? If I really check in with myself, I want pizza tonight. I want pizza tonight. Pizza,
Sounds so
like,
good.
it does. It sounds so good to me. But going back to like, there's the introspection piece, and then we want the transformation. But the reality is, and encapsulating what I heard you just say, is there's a whole lot of mess to go through first. And the magic is in the mess. And we have to let ourselves break down to break through. And that means we need to move through. Ah, yes,
This is
yes.
my mouse pad.
Read it to us because it's backwards on the camera.
Oh, the middle is messy, but it's also where the magic happens. Brene Brown.
See, there you go. There you
It
go.
is
We've
messy.
got to let ourselves be messy. And for so many of us, especially women and those identifying with women, we feel like we have to keep it all together and we have to be in control. And that goes back to that perception that that woman had, where at least the story that I'm writing, and, hop in here, Holly, is,
Mhm.
I want to come across and impress these women in the cohort and have it all together. And how often do we do this on social media? All the time,
Right.
right? Like we want to look like we have it all together, but the real connection comes from when we allow ourselves to be seen.
Yes. And that's what we did.
That's what
That is what
you
we
did.
did. And the 24 women who I didn't know in 2018,
That's right.
to today are now part of my network, my sisterhood. And we help each other. It might just be a like of a Facebook post, or it's a phone call, or it's a, hey, do you want to go to this volunteer event with me? How are you doing? I need some advice on job searching. It's all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. And I know that I can generally walk into almost any room, or event in Pittsburgh.
At
I'm
least
going
in
to
this
find
town.
I'm going to find somebody I know. And if I don't, I'm going to make a new friend.
Mhm.
So I'm not that woman who is sort of kind of reserved,
Mm-mm.
watching everything. I'm right in it. And, I'm kind of in the middle of between an introvert and an extrovert. My battery, once that depletes, then I'm ready to just spend 5 days at home. And I know that about myself.
That's right. Which goes back to the introspection, because I would bet there was a time where you just drained the battery
Right.
completely and kept finding more stores or just worked on that low battery, assuming that's just what it was.
Yes.
So I want to go back to when you said about being allowed. Hold on. There you go. I lost you there for a second. When you said about being allowing yourself to be seen, because I often say, and these are not my words, they're Brene Brown's words, that it's about showing up with a capital S and a capital U, and it's about allowing ourselves to be seen. And when we do
Yeah.
that, we can live brave. And so, as you think about that, showing up and being seen, and you reflect back, what would you say were your top 3 takeaways from that experience?
Ooh, my top 3 takeaways. One, a lot of the challenges that I saw as like roadblocks in my life were put there by me. Um, so, and that was kind of scary. But also, some of the things I was going through, everybody else was too.
We're not alone.
And, so there was comfort and peace in that. Like I wasn't crazy. Like I wasn't, the shame that I was living in. Like I'm a recovering shameaholic. I will tell you that for sure. Um, so good at that.
Yeah.
And, just recognizing that these experiences we're having are all just a part of life. It's not always about us. And we're in this together. So those are the couple of takeaways, and that I now have a sisterhood and network, and that's my like greatest takeaway. So yeah, that's a little bit, but yeah, ugly, beautiful, amazing.
Ugly, beautiful, and amazing. And how wonderful it is that it can be all of those things all at the same time.
My favorite word is paradox. Like two things can be true at the same time. We've spent our whole lives trying not to be something or trying to be something. Like one or the two, one of the two. Or we have to believe this or this. There's no gray area. I am so comfortable living in a world of gray because I know that as a storyteller, there's so many different sides to that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wait, you paused for me for a second there, girl. She will join us right back. Here we go. Hey, we are embracing imperfection, and sometimes the universe just really needed to punctuate what you were saying. Please continue.
well, instead of that, we'll do the adding to that imperfection. One of the
Please.
things that I have taken away also is this mantra of live with intention, embrace imperfection. And I do that. And so I don't beat myself up the way I used to. I used to pick myself apart. I said the wrong thing. I just embrace that. And that's actually one of my most powerful ways to make connections with other people.
I love that. Thank you, my friend. Was there anything else that you want to leave us with as we close out this conversation? Anything that you didn't say that you really want to say?
Well, there's one question that you had asked us in our first day. And I wasn't able to answer it.
I remember.
And this question is, what would you do if you had no fear? And I still am wrestling with that. But for me, I think it is having brave conversations because I think, spend a lot of my life avoiding them. But where true, like getting back to that true connection, it happens when you are brave, when you are willing to have that conversation in all aspects of your life. So I may have, in the course of this conversation, been able to answer that question. And we'll see. There may be other times where I can, maybe there's another time I'm asking myself the same question, but I would challenge all of you, what would you do if you had no fear? Because that has stuck with me and I've wrestled with it for so long in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, in a powerful way. Thank you, my friend, for sharing your heart with us this evening. And a gentle reminder to everyone listening that we can be both brave and afraid at exactly the same time. So don't wait until you aren't afraid. So long, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Now more than ever, we need leaders willing to challenge the status quo in their lives, both personal and professional. And I hope that Hollie's story inspires you as much as it inspired me. And if so, drop us a note. Let us know what resonated with you, and we'll connect with you soon. So long, everybody. Until next time. So long.